Hey, this is JT and Anna Claire from Warriors by Grace Ministries. We're just going to do a short video to kind of show you what it's like to share the gospel on the streets of Costa Rica. There are so many different ways you can share the gospel, but the one we're going to present today is personal testimony. Many of these people that we run into, they've read the Bible or they know about Jesus, but what they're missing is that personal relationship with Him. And so when you give your personal testimony, sometimes it makes God personal for them. And so that's just what we're going to demonstrate. I also want you to look at some of the interaction between me and Anna Claire, because the interaction is similar. You're going to have a translator there translating in between the times you talk, but this is just going to be a short demonstration of how to do street ministry. So just stay tuned for the demonstration.
Hello.
Hey, my name is JT O'Kane. We're from the United States, and we're missionaries here to just share the gospel with people. Do you mind if I just take a minute and share a story with you?
Sure.
So, I was raised in a Christian home coming up, and we knew a lot about Jesus. We read our Bible, and our parents instilled certain traditions in us. And when I read the Bible, a lot of times I thought about the rules, and we lived in a strict household, so I was already used to rules because our parents had so many. So when I read the Bible and I saw those rules, I said, ay, 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 no más reglas. And so when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a type of cancer. And it was really then that for the first time I had experienced a real test, a test that required me to really cling to God and to depend on Him for life. Because at that moment I didn't know if I would make it or not. And so as I was going through that, now I'm 11 years in remission. And so God just delivered me in that way. A few years ago, my grandmother got sick. She was diagnosed with cancer, and around the same time, my dad was diagnosed with cancer too. And my grandmother passed away. And so after that, I it was sad, but I knew exactly where my grandmother was because she had a relationship with Jesus. And she spent an eternity with Him, and she's in heaven right now. Well, then my dad beat cancer, and he went into remission. But it wasn't long before the cancer came back, and he also died. So now I'm like, ay, 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 no más cancer. But I also know where my dad is. I know that right now he's in heaven because he had a relationship with Jesus. And that's one thing that Jesus, for me, is a healer, but He also gives assurance that one day I'll be with Him for eternity. And I'll join the people who have gone before me, my family members, my friends who have died. And so Christ is much more than just somebody I read about, and it's more than just about rules. It's about a relationship with Him. Does that sound like something you might be interested in?
Yes.
Well, if you really mean that, and you want to start a relationship with Him today, I'm going to pray with you in just a minute. But I want to kind of go through some things with you to kind of tell you exactly what you're asking or what you're saying. Because when we accept Jesus into our life, it's not just one decision. It's a journey that you walk on with Christ to pursue Him daily, to pick up your cross and follow Him. every single wrong thing that you've done, every single sin that you've committed, God can wipe that away. He can wash it clean. Cast it as far as the east is from the west. That's what the scripture says. He can do that for you so that you can have a personal relationship with him. He came, or God sent his son to die for that relationship. And he wants that with you. But if you truly say the words, when you repeat that prayer, I know that you'll be repeating it, but I want you to mean those words in your heart. If you're truly accepting Christ, you'll mean those words with your heart. And so we're just going to pray, and you'll get to accept Christ. So that's kind of how Street Ministry works. Now, in between those moments, sometimes you would have like a pause for the translator to kind of translate back and forth. And a lot of times, I can't tell you how many times where I've shared something personal in my life, and even if that person knows Jesus, or even if they're not ready to accept, they might still have someone, or they might be able to relate to you and what you're going through, or what you've been through. And you can help maybe counsel them, you can help pray for them, and it just creates that personal connection. So I want to encourage you in that. Like, if you don't know your personal, or if you struggle sharing your personal testimony, I really want you to think about that. If you had to share with someone what Christ means for you, or what Christ has done in your life, what would you say?
We want to take a moment and challenge you this week to find someone to share your personal testimony with. Now, your testimony may not be as crazy or maybe interesting as JT's, or someone who's been an alcoholic or addicted to drugs, but your testimony is powerful. Anything that you've gone through that Christ has gotten you through can be used to tell others about Jesus. Yeah. Whether you grew up in a Christian home or you didn't, if you are saved, God has brought you from somewhere to the new place that you are in now, and it has made you a new person. So I want to encourage you and challenge you this week to share your testimony, because the more that you do it, the more the Lord will be able to use you, and the more comfortable you will be before we go to Costa Rica. Bye.